Good evening and welcome to this square table. Originally our idea was to have kind of a square table format, so each one has a microphone and each one can talk personally and we have more personalized discussion. We thought there will be about 60, 70 people who will be interested in creativity. It turned out we have about over 138 people. So last night at 11 o'clock we had to change and make it more like round table. So I think we are trying to fix what you call in your language square peg in a round hole. So please pardon us. We have, not been doing exactly what we would otherwise do. But I think next time we'll have a bigger room. Anyway, once again, welcome. It's exciting. We are all here. Before I start anything, this would not have been possible without the support of Nasscom and TIE. When we decided this event to host, it was just about 15 days before, just 15 days ago we did. And I'm sorry, I'm keeping my phone off, but it keeps on popping up. Thank you. That's, sorry, no, just leave it time, because we are almost 10 minutes late, and that's why I'm a bit concerned that, we would not have enough time. But Nasscom and TIE, first of all, let me acknowledge their support, first of all. Naganand, I think, is here, and he can raise his hand. And is it okay? Oh, you're hiding. Okay, thank you especially. Okay, because we must thank first rather than giving vote of thanks. That's why I'm starting with thanks. And what we thought that culture of innovation is the subject that we are discussing, but just not in general. Culture of innovation in Indian setting, in Indian ink. How in India we can nurture innovation. As you all know that we won some Financial Times Award on innovations and stuff like that. But the idea was that it is just one experiment. It is not generally, we can talk a lot about innovations, but we thought, what are specific things? How can we share experience? So we are not here to teach or we are talk just, and the concept of square table is more democratized model of conference because everything is converging. The speakers and the audience are the same in many ways. And so we thought, let us share experiences, not only from this side, but also from the other side. In the process, what we would like to do is first to have a little setting from Mr. Srivastava Krishnan. A few words. If you can take about 15 minutes to speak on your thoughts. And to save time, everybody's biography is here. So I would not go into great detail, but one interesting thing, if you look at his profile on page 8, and that is, he topped India 1 out of 500, 500,000, lakhon mein ek bolte hai na. So he's somebody like that in the National Civil Service Examination in 1994. And I have known him for a long time. I would not go into the details because I think we'll end up spending the whole day. You got such a marvelous background behind you. So I think we'll start with inaugural talk from Mr. Srivastava Krishnan. And if I may invite you to talk, you can sit there, you can stand. I'm a standing counsel, so I always keep, and I'm always on the standby. So please, whichever way suits you, it's all freewheeling. And once we finish, we would like to hear from you also. What has been your experience? How many of you are creative, but how you nurture creativity? What kind of problems you have encountered and so on and so forth. So without much ado, may I request
Thank you.
Srivastava Krishnan to give us a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishith. I'm seeing Nishith after 18 years. And I must say, when I first met him, when I was working for Chandrababu Naidu in Andhra Pradesh, what struck me about Nishith was his passion to build a world-class law firm out of India. Many law firms in India are legacy-driven. Kisi ka baap hai, kisi ka beta hai, kisi ka pota hai. He's one of the few who has built a law firm from scratch, done it in one generation, and taken it global. And I think that's something which we all as Indians should be very, very proud of. When I saw him today, after almost 2 decades, it was a very warm feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, I never prepare for a speech. I've just come to speak to you some thoughts on innovation and what we are doing in government. Governments and innovation don't usually go together. Shekhar, Kapur and innovation always go together. So it's a bit of an antithesis to have a Babu who's from the same school as Shekhar Kapur. Both of us went to the best school in the world, and if I have to tell you what that is, Modern School, Barakamba Road, New Delhi. We're both going to speak about innovations from very different perspectives. So innovation for me is doing things very, very differently and distinctively. And how can government get involved in innovation? We are often asked, government comes in the way of innovation. You know, government and innovation are not two. And look at her nodding away very, very happily. And I'm sure at the end of this 15 minutes, a very brief talk, at the end of this 15 minutes, I'll have at least a few heads nodding and saying, yes, government can do and is doing innovation in Karnataka. And if I can achieve that in this audience, I think I've earned my day's bread worth it. Okay? So let me start. What is government doing? Let me start with one piece of data, which should stun you. I was sharing this with Matt Nimitz over lunch today. Are you guys aware there are 3.1 million IT professionals in India? 3.1 million. All IT knowledge industries put together. Out of that, 1.1 million are in this city of Bangalore, making us the second largest IT cluster on the planet after Silicon Valley. And by 2020, we'll overtake Silicon Valley to become the single largest IT cluster on the planet with over 20 lakh or 2 million IT professionals, 60 lakh indirect IT jobs, and 4 lakh crore exports. 4 lakh crore exports, that's 35% of India's software exports coming out of one city, Bangalore. So we are the unquestioned IT capital of the world. I mean, I don't think I need to debate this more. But we are not the innovation capital of the world. We are not the startup capital of the world. And the avowed objective of this government is to ensure that we become that. And here are a few steps we are taking. Along with Nasscom, Ravi, Gururaj, we set up what is called the Startup Warehouse. And those of you who haven't seen it, I urge you to go and see it. It's not very large. It's about 10,000 square feet of space where we have about 140 seats and where we incubate startups every 3 or 4 months. And we've been doing that very successfully. We've just had the first anniversary. And I'm happy to announce that we've decided to now expand that 5x. So you'll be soon seeing a Nasscom, Government of Karnataka's next-gen startup warehouse, which is 50,000 square feet, and which will have the first Internet of Things lab in the country, which will have a design center for design excellence and a mobile technology lab. No other state government, madam, may I have your attention? No other state government in the country, much less the federal, now she's nodding this way. No other state government in the country, much less the federal government, has done this yet. I think if government facilitates innovation, this includes, ability for young startups to come in and use the facility for 1 day. If they want to hire it for half a day, mind you, it's totally free of cost. And government is setting up the infrastructure. We've also reached out to several large companies in the corporate world. I can't name them yet because I know my friends from the press would be somewhere here. Until I don't have everything tied up, I don't want to name them yet. So we have some of the biggest names from the corporate sector partnering with us in creating the labs that I mentioned and the next-gen startup warehouse. That is one part of it. What is the other part of things which in government frustrates all of you? That is government itself. Now, why should the point of decision of a government service and the point of delivery of a government service be at one and the same location? The point of decision of a government service will always be inside government because it's a statutory function. But the point of delivery can be anywhere where we can bury a piece of silicon and a piece of fiber. Government of Karnataka has become the first state in India and the largest in the world mobile governance platform, will be launched in October by the President of India. We have 4,500 services at launch on mobile phones, smartphones which are made by my friend from Sony here, and also on non-smartphones, on small non-feature phones which the Aam Aadmi on the street carries, where with USSD and SMS he can avail of many, not all, government services. So I'm waiting for Ultra Z2 to come so that we can showcase that at our launch as well. And you've still not told me when you're bringing that out. So M-governance, mobile governance, completely separates the point of decision of a government service from the point of delivery. It's anytime, anywhere, anyhow service. You can be sitting on a beach in California and accessing your property tax account in Bangalore or pay your Nasscom bill on the mobile phone. If you want a plumber and want to find one in the middle of the night, all you need to say go is into the Government of Karnataka Mobile One platform and look for a plumber, and you'll have their names and numbers coming into you via SMS in a few seconds. And we have over 4,000 of these services at launch, which makes us the single largest mobile platform in the world. If that isn't innovation, tell me what is. Now she's nodding all the way, only this even before I speak. I'm convincing at least one person in this audience. Okay, let me tell you something else. All of you are Hollywood fans in this room. Matt, do you know where Life of Pi was made? And where was Skyfall made? Where was Sherlock Holmes made? Not in Hollywood. It was not in Hollywood. If you saw the movie Skyfall, the climax scene, the house Skyfall, which is supposed to be in Scotland, which thankfully did not go independent yesterday, was not in Scotland. It was here in Whitefield, down the road, where a group of young techies created Skyfall in a studio in Bangalore called Technicolor, with whom we work with. Life of Pi's famous storm scene, which won the Oscar, was created also in Bangalore, as have been several other movies. So Government of Karnataka is working on a project to see how can we disrupt the Bollywood and the global motion picture industry when it comes to special effects, VFX, animation, and graphics. What is it that the government can provide in terms of infrastructure which would enable young kids, many of these, as Shekhar knows this far better than I do, come together for a movie, for one project, and go away. Those, in fact, I was very happily surprised to find the people who worked with me on this movie called Shanghai, where I happened to sing. The movie Shanghai, many of the technicians who had come together when I was talking to them later have moved off into other projects. So can the government create a platform where young, talented people can come, work on projects in the area of animation, special effects, etc., and go away once their project is done? Why should they invest in server farms? Why should they invest in high-end rendering equipment? I think that is something which the government can do to boost innovation. Startups. This is something very, very close to our heart, and we work very closely with Dr. Sridhar Mitta and Sri Naganand. The government of Karnataka has set up new age incubators in 9 tier 2 cities. And this is again in engineering colleges which have been identified through a World Bank report which listed all the top engineering colleges in the country. And we picked 9 of them outside Bangalore to tap into the talent in tier 2, tier 3 cities and get them into these incubators. If you manage to find one Twitter a year or one Facebook a year, just as Redbus, I don't know how many of you know, Redbus was incubated in Bangalore, in TIE, and was showcased in the Bangalore IT.biz conference, which the government of Karnataka hosts and sponsors 5 years back, and it got sold for $150 million last year. It was set up by a man called Fanindra Sama, who came away from Hyderabad to Bangalore because he saw Bangalore as the startup capital of India and not Hyderabad, and he found all the necessary ingredients for making a startup successful here. So I don't want to take more time, I'd rather spend the time taking your questions. I'm here to just convey a simple message that this government is for innovation. We will do whatever it takes over the next 10 years to make Bangalore the IT, innovation, and startup capitals of the world. We just can't be one and not the other. And this is our avowed mission for which we are working towards. We have a Startup Act in the pipeline, which will take a few more months to come, maybe another 6 months, by which we'll be the first state in India and one of the first few in the world to have a Startup Act which will help young companies like Shekhar's, which got incubated in Bangalore as well, to thrive and grow in this city and this city should become the preferred location for startups and for innovation. I want to just end with one thought. You know, when we are approached by people in the private sector, many of whom are clients of all of you, the standard refrain I find from the private sector is, I have a box, my box is better than his box, my box is faster than his box, my box is cheaper than his box, this is what I call innovation, and please buy my box and make it work somewhere in your system. I'm not looking for solutions in search of problems. I'm looking for very, very unique solutions to the very complex problems which government alone is the home of. And having worked both in the private sector and in the government, let me tell you, by an order of magnitude, the private sector getting things done is a walk in the park. And getting things done in this system is infinitely harder than you can ever imagine, given all the complex workings of our democracy. So what I want all of you to tell me is, how can all of you collaborate with us in the government? And we have an absolutely open system. Anyone wants to come and help us solving any specific problem, either on the mobile platform or on Bangalore One, Karnataka One, or through any other way. We have an e-procurement platform which does $15 billion worth of business every year. 15 billion, that's 80% of Government of Karnataka's annual procurement, every single year. And it's end-to-end. We have contract management, catalog management, and we are considered to be one of the best in the country, if not the best, with several states having reached out to us to replicate the same. So if any of you want to come forward, I invite you to come forward, engage with us, tell us ways in which you can help us solve problems. I'm not here to tell you that I have answers to all the problems, I don't. Which is why this is something we have to do as a team together. And I urge all of you to come forward, help us with those pressing, vexatious problems to which none of us individually have answers, but all of us probably collectively shall do. Thank you very much for your time. I'm happy to take questions.
How the government is really helping entrepreneurs in easing the process of setting up entrepreneurship ventures, because there's so much of regulatory hassles with the new companies bill as well. I think most entrepreneurs, including filing for IPs, as an MSME, there's no grants or anything that is allowed for startups here in Bangalore.
So two things. One is there's a set of things which come under Government of India, like registration of companies, and we are working with them to try and find solutions to that. It's not something directly with us. The things which the Government of India can do, I've had sessions with the startups in Nasscom, in the startup warehouse, where they've given us some ideas. When the Startup Act comes, which is what I spoke about, that is one big step forward in debottlenecking. There are many things which a startup need not do. And there's no reason why it should be subjected to every archaic, pre-British, pre-Jurassic era law, just because the law exists or because someone wants to take a bribe. So we just give us some time. We are working through it. We will, hopefully in 6 months from now, have a brand new Startup Act which will debottleneck and make it easier for startups to start here. Thank you. Sorry. For the state laws, yes, it will be state specific. Which is why we want you to come here and not go into another state. You think I'm going to write a law for Andhra Pradesh?
He did it already.
That we've been there, done that. Any other questions, please? Yeah. There's one question here. You mean all my predecessors weren't candid? I don't buy that.
Hi,
I'm a
this
little
is
more candid than others. Yes,
Shekhar Desai from Nishith Desai. My question would be, which jobs would be killed because of innovation?
which jobs would be?
Disappearing or get disrupted
Well, I
because
certainly
of
hope the
innovation.
IAS doesn't disappear. I won't have a salary to go back home to. Which jobs? See, I don't see it as a job disappearing. I think there will be jobs which get restructured. Tell me one job which has disappeared in the last 10 years, including a photocopy operators. It still exists. We may not call them that, we may call them something else, some fancy name. Or the machine would have become better, whether you don't need an operator running through it every time, you may become less. I don't think jobs are going to disappear. I think a lot of them, the whole skilling initiative which we are doing is towards ensuring that people who come out of one set of skills can get reskilled for adapting in the new innovation economy. We are working very closely with Nasscom on that as well. And that is something, again, which you will see shortly. Thank you very much for your time. Very grateful. Thanks a lot.